So what we're going to talk about right now is specific tools that you can use in Lynn or anywhere. Some of these you're probably very familiar with already, but this is this part of the training. Please, as always, pipe in with your ideas. I'm going to tell you about two tools that we used in Somerville: the Community Benefits Agreement and Linkage, commercial linkage. So I'll start with linkage. What the commercial linkage is it's a requirement, it's a tax. When you have new commercial development coming to town, you can create a linkage fee where you require that development to pay into a pot of money that the city holds that can be used for affordable housing. So there's this question, there's a legal connection or a nexus that they use to show that if you have a lot of new development that comes into your town, it could create a negative impact on the housing environment. Like, because you have a lot of new development, so there's a squeeze on the housing market, pressure goes up, housing prices go up, people sometimes have to pay more or move out. So they were able to show that connection and relationship and say, all right, because of that, we need some way to mitigate against it. So it's legal to actually extract a fee from the developer when they come in and they put this into the commercial linkage. It's called a commercial linkage fee. So that's what it is. Somerville was able to establish it a long time ago. About 7 or 8 years ago, we took a look at the linkage fee in our organizing work and we said, well, this is still pretty low. This is a good time for us to think about increasing it. In Somerville, we have a lot of new development. Some of you guys, have you heard of the Assembly Square area in Somerville? Well, it's a very underdeveloped area that's getting developed as we speak. They're putting a new Orange Line stop in. It's right near Sullivan Square, Wellington, that whole area. They're all kind of connected. So it's a transit-oriented development area. There's a huge impact that's happening there, and there's a ton of new development that's coming down the pike. So we, 7 years ago we were anticipating all this new development, and we thought, wow, we could really benefit from having a higher linkage fee in this moment. We didn't have to reprove the legal case that was already done, but we needed to update it, and we thought the number then was really low. So we decided, they did another revision to look at what the right fee would be, and we came up with a number of $3.91 that we wanted to charge per square foot. But it was going to be a political battle, because most mayors, a lot of city governments don't want to put any kind of pressure on developers. They don't want to deter development in any shape or form, and by charging a higher fee, they're worried that development won't come to town. So we knew we had a battle in front of us, but we also knew that this was going to be a cash cow for us that would go for affordable housing. And in Somerville, affordability is a huge issue. Everybody talks about it. Somerville's gotten more and more expensive. Part of the city is already unaffordable. It's just really expensive. The Davis Square area of the city is not affordable. But the eastern half of the city is still affordable, but it's changing. And we're worried that people aren't going to be able to afford to stay in Somerville. So at that time, we're always looking for handles. Like, what are ways? Our whole mission as an organization is to figure out how to keep Somerville diverse, how to keep our whole population there, our low-income folks, our new immigrant population, our people of color. How do we make sure people don't get pushed out of the city? So we're always looking for organizing handles. And this was one handle that we had. Well, we need to be able to build more affordable housing. So we knew that one thing we could do was to create more money in our affordable housing trust fund. So we're like, okay, we're going to push really, really hard for this linkage fee. So we knew our number was $3.91. And to make it a little bit more palatable to the elected officials, we said that because there was going to be a lot of pressure from some of the smaller businesses, we said there's a minimum of 30,000 square feet. So businesses under 30,000 square feet wouldn't have to pay into it. But if you're 30,000 square feet, which is like a small grocery store or above, you'd have to pay per square foot that amount, $3.91. So that became our organizing campaign. And the way we did it is we talked to every single alderman. We're set up with aldermen. So we have 11 aldermen, and we had our people, our volunteers, our members and leaders set up small meetings with the aldermen, and we just started to make the case. And it's hard because it's really technical. Like, in terms of organizing campaigns, it's hard to explain commercial linkage fee. So we had to really bring the message back to more affordable housing, and this is how we do it. So we were able to make the case, and for several months we had these meetings, and one by one we were able to get the support from the aldermen. At the 11th hour, the mayor really was pushing against it, and we were worried we were going to lose it. And in fact, he came up with a counter proposal. But luckily, because we had done our organizing work, we had the solidarity of the Board of Aldermen, and they unanimously passed it 11-0. So that was really good. So we now have $3.91 as our linkage fee. Very worth it. Still, we haven't cashed in yet because the development's been very slow, but it doesn't matter because we will cash in. We're actually thinking about, well, now maybe it's time to put it up even more. I mean, so that might be a campaign.
Meredith, that's $3.91 per
Square foot.
of development.
No, the way it works is when they come in, I don't know who said everywhere, but when they come in, whatever size their space is, if it's 30,000 or above, starting at 31,000 square feet, actually I guess it starts at 30,000, for every square foot above, they pay that fee, $3.91. So it's a one-time thing.
Development, when they do the development.
When they do the development, that's right, so it's not an annual thing. However, just on Tuesday, we just passed Community Preservation Act, which might be on the list too, so I should add that because it's very exciting, yeah.
So if the space already exists and I'm a, like a small, like.
Yeah, no,
No? Okay.
it's just new development.
Or new development, okay.
Yeah, it's because, the way it works is the city will not issue their permit to develop until they pay that fee.
Okay.
So that's the way it works. Yes, question?
So, how often are they developing?
Well, the reason why it was a good thing for us in Somerville is because there are these tracts of land, like in this whole area called Assembly Square, that's really underdeveloped. So we're gonna see all kinds of new development. A lot of stuff got raised, it got moved out, and now there's gonna be new. We actually lost, there used to be a Ford factory there. Good Times used to be there, absolutely. So Good Times, right. All these things used to exist. They were, tons of jobs were lost in that area. But now there are going to be all kinds of new things coming in, retail shops, what have you. So this is like, because we were able to put it in place, it's not just good faith, it was a real solid commitment, like a requirement when developers come in that they have to pay that fee.
Proactive. It's proactive, you're thinking
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a lot. Because, the other thing that we're always trying to establish is, like, I'll get to community benefits and hiring ordinances, which is different. Go ahead.
So 2 questions. Do you know
Yeah.
of any models where linkage agreements have been not just for housing, but also for job training, for example?
I think that falls into the category of community benefits agreement.
tool.
No,
City of Boston.
City of
City
Boston
of
does
Boston.
that.
In Boston,
They have
that's
a
a
neighborhood housing trust and a
part of
neighborhood
their
jobs
linkage.
trust.
Right.
They're 2 different dollars.
Okay, do you guys want to talk about that just briefly?
That's I just know if it exists. But the second
Yes.
question was,
Yeah.
I always worry about doing this, and then it ends up in the hands of some board somewhere after we
Yes.
get the funds.
It's a problem.
How do you control how it's spent
So
after
in
it's raised, or
right,
can you?
right, and I think it's different for every place. The way we do it in Somerville is there's a group called the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is a community board of people who manage it, and they are then, the money all goes there, and they're the ones who review how the money gets spent. So people with projects like a CDC, for example, would apply, like, well, we want to build affordable housing, and they would apply to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund for the money.
The board's appointed by the mayor or the council, the city council, or
I think the board is, I think it is a mayor-appointed board. Yes.
Did you have to go to court to get this ordinance approved?
The, legal counsel, no, to get it approved was just the Board of
Just
Aldermen.
the Alderman?
Right, but we needed legal counsel to show the nexus, so they did a nexus study to figure out what the negative impact would be to come up with that right number, right fee.
So, my curiosity is,
Yes,
one-time fee, nice pool of money.
yes.
Does Somerville deal with WAPs? Does it deal with, helping people just own outright homes? Or how do you do this affordable housing? Because it's under attack, right? And they're cutting the budget, and then
Right.
if you have people gonna get off, and they look for every excuse to get you off,
Oh, you bet. And I can't really answer that question right now because I want to make sure you guys have time in your small groups. I mean, that's a huge question. That's sort of the question of like our organization has to think about that all the time. And I'm happy to talk with you later about it, or if there's time at the end, if people want to bring up that conversation.
To
they can.
basically
Yeah.
write grants to small project developers.
The Affordable Housing Trust Funds?
Right. That's the way Boston does
Mhm. Right. The money can be used in a variety of ways. So yeah, it's applied for. Yeah.
The city of Lynn about 3 years ago passed a zoning overlay for the waterfront. Probably talked about it. But they gave businesses an incentive to move here, and they gave them, it's called density incentives. You can build higher,
Yeah.
you can build more dense. All we're asking for in linkage is this business response would be, oh, we can pay an extra tax. But the city can give density bonuses that offset by 10 times to 1 sometimes linkage. The argument against linkage is really not valid because it's a one-time, and it goes to improve housing for the workers that we work with. So I could see we would have an argument. Right now, it was dead in the water because the council, we talked to community development, they want everything to do with linkage.
Yeah.
But I think it's very valid and it's a good point.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give 2 other quick examples. One I wasn't assigned to, but I just have to because it's so fresh, and that's the Community Preservation Act, which we just passed on Tuesday, which was really great. I know your neighbors did too in Salem and Beverly. So it was a hard-fought battle, but we were very excited to win it. What it means is that it's a property tax. It's a surcharge on property tax. Low-income families are exempt, and and moderate-income seniors are exempt. So it's sort of a regressive tax, but because of that, it makes it a little bit more equitable. But the reason it's so good for us, it's similar to the commercial linkage fee, which is now we have more money to be able to build affordable housing. It's for open space and parks, historic preservation, and affordable housing. The reason we were in the game is because of the affordable housing. So it's another way to build up a reservoir of money. Every year we're going to be able to add $1.5 million to Somerville for those 3 things. So, a substantial portion of that will be for affordable housing. So, yay, that was a hard-fought battle.